Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, and welcome to Nashek Hayil, our channel on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook Live, we welcome you. For those that don't know who Nashek Hayil is, let me tell you real briefly. We are women of valor. We are sisters who have, in this wonderful journey of life, decided to tap into that which has been given to us and have an opportunity in our learning process in this journey called life. We're able to have the opportunity to share with others what it is that we have learned and what we are learning. And so with that, again, I welcome, if this is the first time that you've joined us, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to hear a little something that I hope will help you in your own journey. If you are returning, thank you for the support. Thank you for the phone calls. Thank you for the emails. Thank you for the text messages. Thank you for the hugs. Thank you for the love that you've all have shown us in our efforts to create community and in hopes of in us creating community, growing spiritually, connecting to our higher power, our higher selves. So again, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. For those that may not know, my name is Akko Ametia, Tamara Ametia, for some that may know me personally, but Akko Ametia nonetheless. And welcome. I am president of Nashek Hayil, which has definitely been an honor and a pleasure to be a part and to create content and create a platform for us sisters to be able to come together and to simply learn, right? So real briefly, so that you understand, we are in our 120 days of intention. And what is that? My sister, if you are catching us on the channel, on the Nashek Hayil channel regularly, you'll know my sister, my actual sister, and I have come together. We've collaborated, and we decided to take this 120-day journey of being intentional in every aspect of our life. So, of course, my sister isn't here because this is a small Shabbat edition for day 4. She will join us later this evening. Of course, once the sun goes down, we will be back with another topic to kind of go along with what we're talking about. Regular in our in our other aspects of our life, but I decided to kind of do like a Shabbat edition because I also want to show how you can be intentional in your spiritual life. This is not meant to be drawn out or crazy long. This is just something to kind of get a little meat, get a little sustenance, to kind of help you start your week. And my hope is, like we've taken on this journey, my hope is that you also will get something out of it that will aid to your spiritual journey. So with that, we are in, let's jump right to it. We are in day 4, Shabbat edition, 120 days of intention, day 4, an intentional spiritual life. In particular, we're talking about preparation. So if you've been joining us throughout the week, my sister and I have taken on this this task of, not even a task, I'm going to say that. We've taken on this responsibility, I'm going to call it, because it is a responsibility to ourselves and to others, and use principles that we kind of deal with in our personal and everyday life. We're always thankful to the Creator. So with that, let me back up a little bit and catch myself. Let me give all praise, honor, and glory to the God of Israel, thanking him for this day, thanking him for this opportunity, thanking him for this platform, thanking this great eternal King for being my all, my everything, thanking this great power for an opportunity of life yet again. For those that don't know, my sister and I both have COVID, and yet ain't nothing stopped the show. We may have symptoms. We have these ups and downs. When she's down, I'm up. When I'm down, she's up. And even right now, I thank the Most High just for the ability to be able to talk, to speak, to eat, to actually feel good. You may catch me sweating occasionally. Forgive me. But nothing stops this show because I do feel like it's a purpose. It's meant, it's intended for something. And so with that, we're talking about spiritual intention is, and again, I thank the Most High for all things and everything. So we are in day 4 of the Shabbat edition, and intentional spiritual life preparation. Sorry, I'm trying to get myself together. And with that, yeah, if you've been catching us, we've been kind of using, like, last night in particular, we used what's called SMART goals. And this is something that we both kind of use in a therapeutic or clinical setting with our clients. She deals with adults, I deal with children right now. And it's a great tool to kind of help in the process of change. And this is what this is about. These 120 days is this journey my sister and I are on changing aspects of our life that we feel need to be changed, to add something to it, to be present in our everyday life, to not take this life for granted. And so that also includes our spiritual life. I don't take my spiritual life for granted. I've actually learned so much that it's pushed and propelled me even to do things like this, right? To be able to share it. So so that you know, I like to use parts of scripture, because this is what this is about, right? How we can connect to our higher power, and therefore become our higher selves, our best selves. And it's a wonderful feeling when you see and accomplish change, accomplish these goals in which you set in your life, and see the changes in your life, and see how the Creator shows up, because you decided to be intentional in how you show up in your own life. And I do think it's reflective. So with that a little bit, I would like to give you a quote. It is a direct quote, and it's from an author named John Maxwell, and it's from a book called Intentional Living, Choosing a Life That Matters. And the author writes this, and this is a direct quote. John Maxwell says, "If I wanted to make a difference, wishing for things to change wouldn't make them change. Hoping for improvements wouldn't bring them. Dreaming wouldn't provide all the answers I needed. Vision wouldn't be enough to bring transformation to me or others. Only by managing my thinking and shifting my thoughts from desire to deeds would I be able to bring about positive change. I needed to go from wanting to doing." And that's what we're in the process of, going from wanting a life of change, or to see changes in our life, wanting that, to actually going about the actions of making those things happen, being intentional. And I think a lot of times we take the desire or the want to change, we take it for granted. We just think sometimes we think because we want it, it's just going to happen. And no, it doesn't happen that way. So with that, I'm using our spiritual life as an example of that. And I'm using right now preparation. How do you prepare? So in adding this spiritual element to our wanting to live an intentional life, right? How are you showing up and being intentional in your spiritual life? So to even change it, add different wording to it. How are you preparing for change in your spiritual life? Are you preparing, or have you thought to prepare for change, right? And so with that, I want to go to Psalms 131. In particular, we're going to concentrate on verses 1 through 18 as I continue to talk real quick. But I'm going to read the whole thing in totality because I just like to do that. I thank the Most High for the words in which He's left on record for us as instructions to life, especially when they come from King David and King Solomon, because there's this element of spirituality, this element of wisdom that's imparted in that, and I think is very important. And these are the things that help us to kind of know how to like live life, like to apply the words of God to our life. So with that, thanking the Most High for His words. Hallelujah. Psalm 139. To the chief musician, a psalm of David. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You have measured my going and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. For before a word is in my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it all. You have beset me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high. I cannot attain it. Where shall I go from your spirit? Where shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend up to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, the light shall be night about me. Even the darkness is not dark for you, but the night shines like the day. Darkness is as light with you. For you have formed my insides. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you. Hallelujah. For I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and my soul knows that right well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and finally wrought in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book all things were written, also the days in which they are to be fashioned, and for it too there was one of them. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O Yah! How vast is their sum! If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Surely you will slay the wicked, O Yah. Depart from me, therefore, you bloody men. For they speak against you wickedly, and your enemies take your name in vain. Do I not hate them, O Yah, those who hate you? And do I not strive with those who rise up against you? I hate them with the utmost hatred. I count them my enemies. Search me, O Yah, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts, and see if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Hallelujah. So, excuse me, taking this psalm and just kind of going through verses 1 through 18 real quick. Um, I love it. I love it. Because one thing that the writer does, and King David does, is he brings us back to the very beginning. It talks about preparation. So one thing, right, that when I read this and why it resonated with me is part of this life of being intentional, is because he gives us a reminders of why we should be intentional in our spiritual life. And this is how I'm going to use this particular scripture and tie it into what we're talking about today. He reminds us of why we should make time, why we should acknowledge this great king. He brings us back to the very beginning. And he lets us know something that I think often too many times we forget. You know, when I sit down and when I rise up, you understand my thoughts from far away. Ain't nothing hidden from the Creator. You have measured my going and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. He knows us. It's time we start knowing ourselves and being honest with ourselves in that. For before a word is in my tongue, behold, oh Lord, you know it all. Yah knows everything. There's nothing hidden from him. We're the ones that think everything is hidden. We try to hide things, right? But that's not what this is about. He's reminding us how the Most High besets me behind and before and laid his hand upon us. Such knowledge is too wonderful for him. It can be overwhelming when you really think about it and put yourself in that space, right? So where shall I go from your spirit? There's nowhere to hide. From the highest heights to the lowest lows, you can't hide from the Creator. So one thing I appreciate is that he reminds us when he says, for you have formed my insides, you knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and finally brought in the depths of the earth. So it brought me to the thought of preparation and how the Most High made preparation for us. Before man was created, he prepared this earth for us, right? And if you read the story of creation, you know that there was this void, this darkness, before this light came into being. And then we had these luminaries, and then you had, which is your sun, the moon, the stars, and they had its function, and they were functioning in the way that they should. And then, the earth was made, and then you had the firmament, you had the waters above and the waters below, and then you had the animals, and you had the fish of the sea, and the creepy crawly things. You You have the creepy crawly things. You have all these things that were formed before man. And then you have man. And then man was created. And then from man, of course, woman was created. But he made a preparation for us to be in. So in that, it made me kind of start to reflect on how do we make space? How do we prepare for the Most High to enter into our space? Do we create space for change, even in our spiritual life? This is where I'm bringing this to real quick, and not to be long-winded. So, how are we preparing for the Most High to enter into a certain space with us? We're asking for his presence to be with us. When we go into prayer in particular, it's a time where we make time to be in alignment, to be one with the Creator. It's a time that we should specify in particular. We should carve out time. But are we? So I had to think about this in my desire to be intentional in every aspect of my life. I had to start realizing, how do I prepare? Have I made time for changes even in my spiritual life? There's things that sometimes I feel rushed in the daytime. I'm using myself as an example. I might feel rushed in the daytime. I'm getting up in the morning because I'm not a morning person. But yet I realized that with all this rushing and I find myself at the last minute right before I'm leaving the door, there was a time that I was like, oh, I forgot to pray. Let me pray real quick. And then I started thinking, like, what if the Most High did that to me? What if he was real janky about it, right? What if the Most High didn't prepare for us? What if we were part of that void? You know what I mean? In the vastness. Of course, we were a thought. We were. We've always been a thought, right? We have purpose, and this is going to lead us into our purpose or finding purpose. However, and which is my overall intent. However, it brought me into how we prepare and how we prepare for change, even in our spiritual life. So it starts with preparation. I don't want to be janky, so to speak, in my time with the Creator. That time is precious. And I shouldn't be in a rush when it comes to it. I should be present. Because when you're in a rush, you're not present. And although you're praying and you're thanking the Most High, but you're running through, right? And where's your mind in that process? So this is to kind of bring to attention the importance of kind of like slowing down, preparing ourselves to be in the presence of the Creator in every aspect of our life. And then how this is later, how we're going to add to this is how by doing so, we're literally in every facet of our life, we are including the Creator. And we'll see this as we continue on this journey. But I kind of bring that to attention because it's very, very important that we prepare ourselves for spiritual change. If there's something that you don't like, you have the ability to change it. We are not held to anything that we don't want to be held to. However, it doesn't make sense to make excuses why we can't make certain changes in our life, especially in our spiritual lives. So it brought me to preparation. How do you prepare for change spiritually? And we can go back to the idea of the SMART goals. So part of that is defining SMART goals for the purpose of spirituality. Excuse me. Defining SMART goals for the purpose of spirituality. Now, if you've been on this journey, my sister now, she kind of discussed a little bit about this last night. So I'm just going to use a little bit with what we said and how we tie it into spirituality. Be specific. Be specific in defining your goals in detail, the who, what, where, when. So in this case, we're talking about spirituality. We're talking about what changes do you want to see in your spiritual life? This is about you. Your spiritual walk is solely about you. It's not about anybody else. So you can personalize. You know the changes you need to make. If nobody else knows, you can appear any way you want to appear to anybody. We all wear a mask here and there in our lives, right? Even in our spiritual life, right? Amongst those that we know. But we can't hide from the creator. And in truth, you really are not hiding from yourself either. You know when you're being purposeful in your walk, and you know when you're not. So this is just a way of kind of getting a hold of that and narrowing things down and being reflective and seeing yourself and identifying if change needs to come. So in this case, we're being specific. We're talking about preparation, for instance, in our spiritual life. How do we begin to prepare? Be specific in that. And as always, I'm always going to say, be honest with yourself in that. You ain't lying to nobody. Just like the psalmist just said with King David, we can't hide anything from the Most High. We can be in the highest of the heavens and down in Sheol. Nothing is hidden from him. So we have to, that's just a reminder to ourselves, right? Measurable. How will I measure my success in this? How do you measure your success spiritually? One example would be some people write, some people journal. It shows levels of progress. I spoke to a sister recently this week, and she says, when she journals, it's a conversation. She's having a conversation, and with self, but ultimately with the Most High. And these questions and these things are popping up for her, and they're getting answered at the same time. And I'm sure if she probably went back and read some things probably from a year ago and then look and bring it forward, she'll probably see the changes and the progress that she's made in her own walk, right? In her own spiritual walk. That's just an idea. But also be realistic about it and how much time you need. So when we're talking about preparation and we're talking about, let's say, prayer, for instance, going before the Creator, making space for the Creator, time is in that regard, it's like time can be infinite if it wanted to be, right? But we know it's not. It's finite. Time is finite. But how much time do we need? Are there components that depend on each other? I think a component that depends on each other is the presence, you being present in what it is that you're intending to do spiritually. And understand that there's an alignment that happens, that needs to happen. You are dependent on the Creator in all ways. He woke you up this morning, and we thank him. Toda Yah, he woke us up this morning. He started us on our day. Let's be reflective of that. Let's be present in that. Let's thank him for that. He woke you up to the knowledge of the Shabbat day. You were dependent on that. We are still dependent on that. So there's ways that just different ways that we can find ourselves, find ways to measure the success of that. And the success is also going to come from the changes that you see in your life. The changes from the people even around you. When you make certain changes in your life, even in the spiritual sense, you'll see the things around you start to change too. And people take notice of that. So be mindful. Sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta pray for me. Achievable or attainable. How can the goal be accomplished? I kind of said it too. Being present, taking the logical steps, being honest, right? What are the logical steps to completing this goal? Starts with being honest, in my personal opinion. You have to know where you are. You have to kind of get to know who you are before even making some of these goals. And I think even in a spiritual sense, kind of know the reasons why you want to obtain these goals. I think that's important. What are you trying to accomplish from it? What do you want to accomplish from it? That's how you're going to be able to attain it. Figure out what it is that you want. I want a better spiritual life. Well, what does that mean? That's really broad, right? Narrow that down. How do you want a better spiritual life? What steps do you think you need to take to have a better spiritual life? How present do you need to be in your spiritual life? Just food for thought. R for relevant. Is this a worthwhile goal? Of course it is, right? Of course it is. Is this the right time to work on this goal? It's never not, right? We make excuses and we use time as an excuse a lot of times why we don't make changes. Some people blame age. Well, I am who I am, and I've been this way for as long as I've been this way, and that's just that. We don't have to do that. Do I have the necessary resources to complete this goal? If you don't, and you know you don't, find those resources. Of course, you have the Word of the Most High. You have the Tanakh. If you are attached to a Knesset or a camp, however you define that, a place of worship, that's a resource for you. People in there are resources for you. Find you a mentor. I'm a firm believer in this. And I feel like it's Per Avot that talks about the importance of having a teacher. Find you a teacher. Find you a teacher. If you're new to this, it's very important that you find a teacher. Kind of being scattered all over the place doesn't necessarily help anything, because sometimes you're too scattered and about. Be honest with yourself. Take your time. Find a teacher that you can learn from. Now, does that mean that you don't have stages and elevations? There's teachers for every level of life, right? And I truly believe this. So you might have accomplished or feel like, you know what, I'm good in this area. I need to take it to the next level, right? Find a teacher that's going to take you to that next level. Because ultimately, what we're trying to do is deepen our connection with the Creator. We're trying to find our higher self. So what does that take? It takes a little bit of work. And don't think, and I talked about this last night too, right? And that's just in a general sense. But these types of goals, even spiritually, takes work. And a lot of times what happens is that you have these moments that if you're being honest and you're really present in the work in what it is that you're doing, man, you'll have moments. You're gonna have moments, right? Because that truth is coming out. But then at the same time, your answers are coming along with it. So don't be afraid of these changes, even in your spiritual walk. And guess what? You could be new to this, or you can have been in this way of life for a very long time. It doesn't matter. There's always room to add something. There's always room to make changes if they're necessary. So just remember that. Time. Time is not always on our side. We hear that a lot. And I think that's more toward wasting it. So how long will it take to accomplish this goal when I'm working? When am I going to work on the goal? I think in this sense, when we talk about spirituality, it's not so much about how long it will take to accomplish your goal, but I think when you choose to get started on the goal matters. Let's stop wasting time. Okay, stop wasting time in thinking and putting it off. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll get to it tomorrow. If it means something to you, excuse me, and it's important for you, you're gonna make time. So start right away if you can. What's the holdup? Start tonight if you choose to. Set those goals. Search yourself. Take a moment. Think about it. See where there's changes that's needed to be made. See where you wanted to add something to your spiritual walk, whatever it is that it may be. But then if you choose to, tomorrow's another day. It's a new day. So why not start tomorrow? So I use prayer kind of in the beginning. I kind of was alluding to prayer in preparation and prayer, but in preparation for the Creator to enter us into the space in which we're in. Make it a point, and for those that want to understand where I was coming from, Psalms 139, in particular, verses 1 through 18, but read the whole psalm. Excuse me. In it, what I kind of drew from it, or what came to me a little bit, was about what touched me was like how the psalmist just brought me back personally to how the Most High prepares for us and how He knows us. So what am I hiding from? What it is my own truth, right? If I choose not to make changes, I'm hiding something from myself. I'm not hurting the Creator. I'm hurting me. I'm not lying to the Creator. I'm lying to me, right? Be honest. Look at all that the Creator has given us, how He's prepared ways for us. And again, using probably like prayer or being in a space or finding, creating space for you to be present with the Creator, because life happens and Like my sister says, life be lifing. But even in lifing, we have the opportunity to make changes. And we have an opportunity always, each and every day, to invite the presence of the Creator into our space. It's all in how we choose to do that and how we prepare for that. So start tomorrow if you want to get your morning going. Um, don't be afraid of changes, even in your spiritual walk. And I started this whole thing with a quote from, and I'm going to read it again because I really, really like it, from John Maxwell from his book, Intentional Living, Choosing a Life That Matters, where he writes, if I wanted to make a difference, wishing for things to change wouldn't make them change, hoping for improvements wouldn't bring them, dreaming wouldn't provide all the answers I needed, vision wouldn't be enough to bring transformation to me or others. Only by managing my thinking and shifting my thoughts from desire to deeds would I be able to bring about positive change. I needed to go from wanting to doing. So my challenge to you is go from wanting to simply doing. You want to begin to make changes in your life, make preparation for those changes in your life. In particular, you want to make changes in your spiritual life, make preparation for those spiritual changes to be able to come and for there to be growth in it. And as always, if you know me, I always have a takeaway, right? Today's takeaway is don't just talk about it, be about it. Start by preparing. Make preparation for the very thing you want in your life or the very changes you want to see. Be the change agent. Be the change you want to see. Let's stop making excuses to why we can't draw closer to the Creator. Let's stop making excuses why we can't walk a certain path, right? If you want to do it, do it. And if you need help, be okay in saying that. But let's start being present in our walk and present in our lives each and every day. And that's what I have for today. Real quick, nothing major. I just wanted to share that. My intention is to give a quick 30-minute, little something to take with you. If you got something out of it, I'm happy you did. All praises to the Most High. I thank you for this opportunity to even share a little bit. Seems a little over the place. I feel a little bit all over the place. I'm sorry if that's the way it came off. Again, I'm thanking the Most High for this opportunity. I'm thanking Him for the growth that He's shown me. And I'm thanking Him that He's shown me ways how I can prepare myself for my spiritual changes. And being able to share it with everyone else. So I pray everyone's had a blessed and wonderful Shabbat, and we will see you this evening when my sister will join me as we continue with day 4 of our 120 days of intention. But this is just a little something for our spiritual community. So be present, invite the Most High into your space, prepare for that. Prepare for Him to enter into your space. And I pray that whatever you set out, those goals that you set out to do, even in a spiritual sense, that the Most High meets you there and grants that for you. All praises to the Most High. I thank you for this opportunity. Shabbat Shalom.